Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Recharging Your Superwoman Summit. We are here to serve you. We are here to just give you all of the experts nuggets today. So thank you so much. We honor your time, we value your time, and we want to make sure that we deliver something that's life-changing today. Not that we can change your life, but we can. You come expecting, and that's the power of expectation, right, Michelle? The power of expectation. When you come expecting, then miracles can show up for you. So I see that we've got Dr. Jill. Michelle, if you haven't met Dr. Jill is such a treat. Dr. Jill is, I'm going to pull her on the panelist. Dr. Jill is just a life-changing dynamo. I know for a fact, as I bring her up and as she's about to show up on the screen in a little bit, I'm going to say what my testimony of meeting Dr. Jill, because I have my personal testimony of meeting Dr. Jill, and she always brags about me being a part of the Recharging Your Superwoman Summit movement, making it about everything is right about you. Everything is right about you. And that really has changed my life. That has changed my life to the core. Let me ask Dr. Jill to come up on stage. Hi, Dr. Jill! Welcome to Recharging Your Superwoman Summit. Make sure we've got everything on control. Dr. Jill, this is Michelle, our co-host. She's also a body worker. She works with athletes. And what else do you work with, Michelle?
I cut my teeth on with pro athletes, Olympiads and such, but I work with all kinds of professionals. A lot of my practice is allopaths and also alternative medicine physicians. And so what ends up happening is that I end up being a bridge. I just make it relatable and people just want to heal.
That's so awesome. And Dr. Jill is also a chiropractor by background. But what she's come up with, not just working on bodies, but working on mindset, which is actually, how much of healing is mindset? If you were to put a percentage on how much of healing is mindset, what would you put? 10% of it is mindset, 50%.
It's a huge part of it, Ava, because it's the foundation of all healing. That if you don't believe, even if you take treatment and you don't believe that treatment's working, you're going to be worrying all the time that maybe my illness will come back. Then the illness could easily come back. So I think mindset is the foundation for everything. I think you got to have a solid foundation, a strong mindset, understand you're the right person for that situation to take it on, and that you're capable of healing your life. And when you get that and you anchor into that belief, then it's brilliant, no matter what you pick, whether it's holistic or allopathic. But we got to get the thoughts right. And that's why I spend so much time teaching people how to get the mindset proper. So when they do take those action steps, which are also so important, they're believing that. Because if you don't believe it, it's not going to work. I mean, it could work, but the chances are you're going to have a harder time along the way.
Yes. And so, Dr. Jill, I actually do really want to give you a proper introduction. I was just saying that, being that you really focus on mindset, people are able to heal exponentially more. It's funny because in the physical therapy practice, we have billing codes. There's a billing code for gait, there's a billing code for therapeutic activity, but there's not a billing code for mindset. So I spend time really even, before they're even willing to do the hard things, because it's hard. When you're hurting, when it's not comfortable, when you're pushing yourself, it requires a mindset. It requires a mindset that believes in healing, that believes it can be done, that believes it's worth the effort. And so I am so grateful that we have Dr. Jill here today, who is the master of mindsets, because it's so important to healing. So I am going to bring Dr. Jill up on stage, and then I'll put you on. Ooh, I put speaker view. So we're going to get better at this on all of these views. But Dr. Jill, everything is right about you. Oh, everything is everything is right about you. Oh my gosh, there's so much power in everything is right about you. I could tell you my testimony, my testimony about everything is right about you. And what's amazing was um when I first met Dr. Jill, I really was discouraged. The first time it was coming up, and I didn't feel like, things were going right. And when you're discouraged, you lose courage. That's kind of like where the word comes from, and you start to slow down, and you start to like dwindle down and doubt whether this is really doable. And so Dr. Jill, I actually owe it to you that we had the first summit and now we have the second, because when I met you, I was like starting to doubt, is this worth the effort? Is this really worth doing it? Do I have what it takes? All of that. And then I met Dr. Jill in the What Went Right Today room in Clubhouse, and she just blasted me with everything is right about you, everything is right about you, everything is right about you. And I promise you, by the time I got out of that experience, I was convinced 100% everything is right about me and I'm the right person for the job. So Dr. Jill, thank you so much for that. Oh, I am so grateful for you. So you're like really the mother of this summit. This is why this is an everything is right about you, because at the verge when I was like wanting to back out, when I met you, I had a goal of 10 to 12 speakers. I had one speaker and it was 2 weeks away. And so I was like, I'm just going to call that one speaker and cancel, but it's amazing when you realize that everything is right about you and you're the right person for the job, it just opens up a whole door, a whole portal of possibilities. So Dr. Jill, tell us more about how you came up with everything is right about you. And I'd love to hear that more.
Well, first off, before I talk about that, Ava, everything is right about you. And man, did you manifest a summit this time, because the lineup that you have going on today are like the A-team. I mean, you have speaker after speaker. If anybody, whoever's tuning in now, stay for the day, because it's just going to keep getting better and better and better, because I know so many of these people personally, and they are incredible. You're going to learn so much. You're going to gain so much knowledge and wisdom and confidence and courage within yourself to know that you are that superwoman. You really are. Even if you have a problem, if you're going through something, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're growing through, every single thing is right about you. You're the right person to show up for that moment. And everything is right about you, which turned into a movement now. What Ava and I are doing, we're partners. We're doing this together. Ava, we were in a clubhouse room, and I'm a firm believer in mindset, because my story goes back long and deep, but I'm going to give you the very short version of it, since we talked about it in the last summit, is that I'm a holistic person, a vegan, a save the world, positive, all that character. And I've been like that my whole life. I've been plant-based since I'm 12. I'm 61 now. I've lived this life fully my whole entire life. And it was in 96 when my husband was diagnosed with an incurable brain tumor. And we were given no hope. Everything didn't feel right about that moment. Nothing felt right about that moment. I wanted to get out of that moment. I was like, tell me something other than this. And I went from medical doctor to the best of the best of the best. And every single one of them said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Well, in moments like that, you think like nothing's right about that. How could anything be right about that? That my 35-year-old husband, we have a young family with 2 children, could possibly check out of this planet within 5 to 7 years. So anyway, we ended up taking it into our own hands and going about it in a holistic way. And long story short, 3 years later, he had cured himself. And he is alive and well today. And Danny is amazing. And in that moment, if you would have told me that everything was right about that, I would have looked at you and said, like, go work. You should go work on your thoughts a little bit, because nothing is right about that. Well, as a result of that work that we went through, and me working on strengthening myself to be able to even deal with something as hard as that, where there's unknowns and there's challenges and there's pivots and there's moments that felt like we were so off, and then moments when we felt on. In order to do that, I knew I needed to strengthen myself. What I didn't know was an incredible program and system would be birthed from that is now helping people all over the planet. It's helping individuals. We're helping children. It's in very large organizations. It's being used as a leadership tool, and everything did turn out right. And it did. And had we not gone through those moments, whatever was intended for my soul would have never been birthed from that. And the key to all healing, and I knew this all along, was getting our mindset right. Because if you're living and you have problems, we all have problems. That's what we signed up for, right? This is the game. It's a problem-solving world all day, every day. In case you didn't notice, they're never going away. They're just going to keep changing. So that means the problems that we're facing really aren't the problem. That's the game. What is the problem is our inability to approach problems from a place of strength, confidence, and clarity. The issues aren't the issues. How we were approaching issues were the greater issue. So when I started to teach people how to accept full responsibility for their life, no matter what they were going through, whether it was a health problem, a life problem, what do I want to be when I grow up problem, it didn't matter. They were missing a skill set straight across the board, and it was their inability to know how to navigate that problem. Yeah. So anyway, when I got onto Clubhouse, I knew that what I wanted to do most and what I could do in a setting like that is work on helping people retrain their brain. Because we live in a world that is filled with negative bias. We think everything is wrong about us. We think things aren't going to go right. We think, what if something goes wrong? What if this isn't true? We live in a world of negative bias. So I came up with a line of what went right today, because I didn't want to hear anything else. So Ava pops in that room, and as soon as they start talking about anything other than that, I'm like, stop it. No. We're only retraining the brain to focus on what went right, because whatever you focus on, you will think about, you will attract more of the same. So they started to say, well, what went right today is I got to go take a walk with my dog. And I was like, well, that's amazing. That's perfect that you got to take a walk with your dog. It could have been anything. And no matter what they said, I made it right. Oh my God, I was in bed crying all day. Well, everything's right about being in touch with your emotions. Every single thing is right about being in your emotions, because you're intuitive and you're smart and you're tapped in, and you could feel the feelings, and you know that it's time for you to feel. You know that it's time for you to take a break and rest and rehab and rejuvenate, so you can come back strong. And out of my mouth, I don't know how it happened, but I said, because everything is right about you. Every single thing is right about you. In that moment, something landed in that person, and literally the whole room gasped. And every time I said it, I was watching it resonate so deeply in the soul of that individual. They're like, well, if everything is right about me, that means all the moments are right for me. All the moments, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, when Ava started to see what was going on in that room, it was a second before I got a DM for her, and she said, Jill, there's something here. We got to do something about it. And the next thing you know, we have a movement, and there's like thousands of people. We have ambassadors, and the Everything is Right About You movement. We're partnering with the Miracle Morning, Pause, Breathe, and Reflect movement, and it's going into in underserved schools. It's about to go into 100,000 children will get this message. We're taking it off the platform, on the platform. We're making frames with people's pictures in it. And even the frame alone, people are reporting. Even the frame alone, people are saying, seeing that around my face makes me realize that I'm amazing. So that's how this whole thing started. And now it's got a life force of its own. We have ambassadors. If you want to be an ambassador and be part of it, jump on in. Just send me a DM or Ava, and you're in. This is a message worth sharing, and this is a message worth hearing, because that's the truth about every single person on this planet, that everything's right about each and every one of us. And the only thing that's wrong about us is the belief that something is wrong with us.
Yes. 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 Dr. Jill, for me, a lot of the things that actually changed for me, even now, how this became really, really personal for me as I started to grow from our last summit. I began to like see when I approach everything is right about this. Everything is right about what's going on right now. This is exactly what was brought to me. This is exactly the training that I needed. So coming up to this second summit, it was like almost a repeat of the first one. I wasn't feeling well. The 2 weeks that led to it, I was sick. The time that I got retested for COVID, because I really wasn't feeling well. And so I didn't have the energy to do this. And then I felt like I was lagging behind. I wasn't getting things done. But at that moment, instead of feeling bad, what comes to me is everything is right about this. Everything is right about this because this is exactly what I need. This is exactly what I need because I'm walking into areas and commitments where I have to show up regardless of how I feel. I don't get to pick and choose. Oh, I'm not going to show up today because I'm not feeling too well. I'm not going to, I get to show up regardless. So this is like my training ground. It's perfect. Like I've got a summit coming up and I'm not feeling perfect. Everything's right about that. So when I go to Dr. Jill's room and she asks, what went right about me, like what can go wrong? Like what can go wrong? Because I've gotten to develop this mindset that no matter what the challenges are, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need right now. And I tell you, it has turned me into a machine because regardless of the situation, regardless of the circumstance, regardless of how hard it is, like the last 2 days I was working at the hospital, there were a lot of things to still do. And I'm like, everything's right about this because, we still, when I get to do productions and we're working on doing productions in the future, a very near future, and I still am working in the hospital. I don't get to pause life. I don't get to pick and choose what comes to me and what doesn't, and what everything comes to me, and this is perfect. Everything's perfect. Everything's my perfect training right now. I mean, I'm not doing it perfect, but I know it's the perfect training for the right time, for the right moment, for the right next cut. I remember, how do you say that, Dr. Jill? What you say about it's the exact thing that you need for the next moment. I'd love to hear that from you.
Yeah, the truth is that what this is doing for people is giving them radical acceptance of that moment and that they're the right person in that moment, no matter what comes into that moment. And when you get that, you could fully just be present to what is, right? You could be present to whatever that moment is because you are the right person for that right moment, doing the right things in the right time, and whatever comes into that moment, it really is what it is. And it's where does a lot of problems come from is believing that moment shouldn't exist. Like if I woulda, coulda, shoulda have done this, or by now I should have done that. So all we're doing is diminishing the one live energy that we have to take life on. And a huge problem that we have in this world is self-concept, who we think we are. People feel not good enough, smart enough, happy enough, healthy enough, pretty enough. This imposter syndrome is ridiculous what's going on because people think they should be something other than they are. You are the right person for the job. You're the exact person for this job. Everything's right about you. It's like you got hired to come onto the planet, right? The CEO said, you know what? You're hired and you're the right person for the job for life. And that means whatever comes into that moment is for you, not for the neighbor, not for your friend. We shouldn't be taller. We should be who we are in any given moment and come from the inside out. And when you lock in to that radical acceptance that you're the right person in the right moment at the right time with the right challenges in any single moment, you realize that, wait, everything is right about me in this moment. Whether it feels good, whether it doesn't feel good, I'm going to listen to that moment because in that moment is informing us of our next right move from there, right? So we got to be able to understand this and start to fall in love with ourselves, start to fall in love with our lives, start to fall in love with the game. This is not about taking the high road. This is not about looking the other way. This is not about everything roses, sunshine, and rainbows. This is about being able to do hard things with confidence, clarity, stability, objectivity, so you could handle life and you could be your best in those moments. Because when things are going well, Nobody needs help. But who is teaching us what to do when things aren't going according to plan, and having a beautiful idea of self-concept that everything's right about me? How powerful is that? And how powerful would it be to tell your children, no matter what they're going through, no matter what life's experience they're having in that moment, that doesn't define them. Everything is right about them while they're working on learning math. Everything's right about them while they're figuring out how to have healthy relationships with friends because they're fighting. Everything's right about them whether they're having a sad day or a happy day or an off day or a great day. We need to anchor into this constant, this unwavering idea that everything is right about us, and that's not negotiable. Life's experiences are negotiable. What we do, what we don't do, how we navigate is negotiable, but we are born perfect, pure, whole, and complete in everything. We're born for this job. Yes. So when we start to get this, it changes the game, because then we know, like, this is perfect. I'm the perfect person for this perfect moment, no matter what comes into this moment.
So beautiful, so beautiful. I would love to hear what Michelle is thinking in this. Michelle, how are you taking this? You're drinking out of a fire hose.
I'm loving it. I'm surfing on that fire hose. Dr. Jill, you are just, first of all, you are just not only a delight, but you really are a woman that encourages other people, not just women, to roll up their sleeves and to be okay with themselves. And I love that there's a few things that I loved what you said. Talk about fire hose. There's a lot of things. But what I wanted to say is I loved how you approach mindset and how you teach people mindset. You talked about how mindset is, well, I'm paraphrasing, how you approach problems. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that needs to come out also, because of the fact of how you're teaching people. And that's the difference between someone who just says, rah, 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 cheerleader, but somebody who really enlightens people to their way of approaching problems while still seeing the best in themselves. It is true mastery. And listening to what you say, it's incredible. I noticed that you have a book. You have a book that most likely is a bestseller. It would shock me if it's not. And it's called The Gift of Taking, Honor Yourself. Wow. How can a person have imposter syndrome if they're truly honoring themselves? And I feel that you encompass that. You live it, you feel it. And one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, though, and ask a question. When you say, what goes right, or what is it? What went right today, correct?
Yeah.
What went right today? And I always believe in honoring my contemporaries and when I work with people, because it's really important that we see and we keep that energy of the knowledge pure. And that's the best way to do it, is to make sure that we show where we threaded together these pieces, these nuggets. And so when you talked about what went right today, I remember being in the clubhouse room and everybody was talking about that. And I thought, wow, that is beautiful. And you got people who didn't even know how to look that way transform. A lot of tears were happening, but a lot of tears of joy because you gave them permission. And I was thinking there was a question now, because I tend to attract a lot of type A people, or people who really want to, they drive themselves in the ground, they become analytical, and quite frankly, we tend to attract people similar to us. So I guess I'm speaking to myself as well. And the question that came to me is, what can go right? And that's something that I tend to share with people on there. What can go right? And I thought, this is a pivotal moment here, and you opening up the energy of the space. It is amazing. Can I ask you, when you wake up, do you think what can go right today? Or do you even plan for that? Do you just accept it? Where's your mindset in the morning?
Oh, 100%. And I've been like this for so long. I am definitely an optimist. I always look for the good in anything, all things, the hard things, all the things. And it's funny that you said that, Michelle, because when my husband's, he's a chiropractor, but he's also a singer-songwriter. And I remember when we were younger, and he was making up a song about me. Could you imagine being married to a person like me, like who always looks at the possibility and the probability with unwavering faith that we got this and we could do this? Like, no matter what the situation or the challenges, I have that faith to be able to, and I've led thousands of people through challenges because of that faith that we got this. So anyway, he wrote this song as a joke, and he goes, my leg's falling off and it's hanging by a thread. My wife says it's good. At least you're not dead. You know, it's just like, you know, the whole concept of, okay, but what's our next right move from here? What's our next step from here? Where do we go from here? It's like understanding how to pull your focus forward without bringing your last disappointment with you is a skill set. And it's an important skill set, because so many times when things aren't going according to plan, we think that that's wrong, but it's really just the next right turn. It's really just the next right move from there. And it's directional. It's helping you. What's in your way is the way. It is the way. And if you see it as that's just like the rock and the stream flows around it and it redirects its path. Like every single thing that's happening all day, every day is guiding us, because we're rigged for success. We're born to win. Life is in our favor. When you know that, you have to be able to navigate the ins and outs and the ups and downs and the closed doors, the open doors as they present themselves to you. That's not a thing to take personally in a negative way. That's something to take personally in a positive way, to say like, wow, this is directional. If that's not it, I wonder what is. If that's not where I'm supposed to play, I wonder where I am. If that's not who I'm supposed to be hanging out with today, I wonder who I am supposed to. But look for what is, not what isn't. We get so tripped up all day, every day by disappointment, taking things personally, making people wrong, instead of just trusting that where you're going is exactly where you're supposed to be for yourself and for them. Now you create a mindset like that, and this is the work that I teach with the BioCode system, is these 5 skills, which I isolated through the years, that I believe are the core components that every person should have access to on the planet. And it's in those moments when you feel stressed, when you're off, when your thoughts are starting to go and ruminate, when you're emotional. How do you strengthen yourself from there? We need real life strategies from where we're at, because in the field of personal development, which I've been in, Michelle, for a very long time, the problem is that these sayings that are out there are beautiful and true and right, but how do I get there from here? It's like we're told to live in the moment. Well, have you seen most people's moments? These are not places that they're aspiring to live in. We need to know how to work these moments. And if we know everything's right about us for that moment, to take it on and work those moments, and we have tools to be able to like be in the gym and get stronger, now it's game on. Because if somebody says, oh, live your best life. What does that mean when you're struggling, or you have a health issue, or your kids are driving you crazy, or my tire just got I need 4 new tires because they just got challenged, whatever, they have a hole in it. Who's teaching us how to strengthen in all moments, not just the good ones? And that's what the Everything Is Right About You movement has turned into. There is a program that supports. How do you actually do that? How do you actually start to build that muscle within you in harder moments when life's pushing against you? Because life's not going to get easier. Just like the gym, the weights in the gym doesn't get easier. But if you, the athlete, get stronger in it, it's going to feel lighter. It's going to feel easier. And that's the name of the game, that our problems in life aren't the problem. It's us in it, because we never learned how to strengthen ourselves in stressful moments, because we learned that stress is a bad thing. And I'm telling you, it's not. You just don't know what to do with it. If you took a weight, Michelle, and you picked up that weight and you said, it's stressing out my muscle, I need to get rid of it so I could be strong, you're never going to get rid of it or be strong, because you have to learn how to lift it and get stronger to deal with things like that. In all areas of life, we use stress and pain as strategies for personal development, except human behavior. While under stress, we think it just needs to go away. No, we need to bring it, use it, and know how to build ourselves up so life feels easier to navigate. Now we feel like, well, now everything's really right about me because I know what to do in these moments.
So awesome, Dr. Jill. So let me tell you a testimony. This is second summit, and I was like wondering, am I getting apathetic or is it getting easier? Because it's, you said life skill, and the first one, I had so much panic. It was so hard, and then the second one is just like, so much more relaxed, things are just happening, and so it's like, and I realize it's because I've built some muscles, and I've built some skills, and the challenges are actually the same, but I've gotten stronger. It's almost like carrying the same 25 weight pounds, and it's just so much easier now, and I'm like thinking, oh, this is what Dr. Jill is saying about your skill set has just gotten stronger, so that this what used to make you stress out, sweat like bullets, no longer is, and it's just getting easier. That's so exciting. That's
the secret right there. That's the secret right there, because when we understand it's not about taking away the problem, and it's about getting stronger in it. It's like if life is like a metaphor, it's like a challenge course, right? We all have seen obstacle courses and challenge courses, right? If a new athlete was taking on a high jump or a shot put or all these different activities, they would be like, oh my God, this is too high. No, this is too heavy. I can't do this. But if an Olympian was taking it on, they'd be through it in 5.5 seconds and say, oh my God, Jill, that was amazing. What's next? Are the challenges and the obstacles in our life really the problem? Or is it that we never learned how to strengthen ourselves in it so it feels fun and it feels easier? Life is going to be loaded with problems and challenges and unknowns and bumps and all of it. That's a given. It's coming at you. Now, how you handle that and how you strengthen yourself to handle it is a difference between a phenomenal life or a life that's built on good day, bad day. I was on it, I was off it. What's wrong with me? Everything's right with me. Because the moment, like a rowboat in the ocean, if it's calm, you're good. And if it's rocky, you're not. You're allowing the circumstances to define you instead of to strengthen you. The rowboat in the ocean and the storm's going down. The yacht is not. The cruise ship still goes out in the storm. We don't need to stop the storms. We need to build a bigger boat, build a bigger you. And when you have a bigger you, it gets easier to navigate life. This is the secret sauce, because everything is right about us, and we need to invest in ourselves and lock into ourselves and know we are the right person, the right moment for the right reasons to take on life. And everything is right about that. Every single thing is right about that. Every single thing. All of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, is right about that when you know how to get stronger in it, because you're the right person for the job.
Dr. Jill, these are the moments when you make me cry, like, oh my gosh, these are the life-changing, if you guys can get this, it literally is making me cry, because, just what you said about don't try to avoid the waves, or don't try to avoid the storm. Build a bigger boat, build a bigger boat. And oh my gosh, the storms are not the problem. The waves are not the problem. You not being big enough is the problem. So build a bigger boat. I'm like, oh my gosh, Dr. Jill, isn't that life-changing? So when I face problems now, how this has changed, just being on your feet all the time. It's funny, when you go to Dr. Jill's room, what went right today? Nothing can go wrong. Nothing. Someone says I'm really irritated. I'm having PMS today. Everything's right about that. And just like, I've been depressed, I've been crying. I'm like, everything's all right about being in touch with your emotions. You just cannot go wrong. Like, no matter how wrong you think it is, somehow it is the right thing. Everything's, like speaking to discouragements and depression, Dr. Jill, how can that be right?
It is right, because it's where you're at in that moment, and you have to learn how to work that moment from where you're at. It's like, the problem of segmenting life as if there's a good part and a bad part is the problem. Why are we segmenting life instead of just viewing life as life? And that if somebody is sad for whatever reason, or depressed and off, it's not because there's something wrong with them. It's because they need tools. It's because they need help, because they need a personal trainer in that gym to teach them how to strengthen those thoughts and work on those emotions and deal with their coping mechanisms to deal with life and the stressors of life. I promise you, if you took that same person and you dumped $1 million in their bank and got them a personal trainer and a chef and a housekeeper all of a sudden, are they going to be depressed anymore? They're going to be, because it's their inability to navigate the challenges that's defining them. They're lowering themselves to the level of the problem instead of understanding that they are amazing and that problem is here to help strengthen them. So I'm going to give you an analogy. So if I say you were born perfect, we are all born perfect. Everything's right about the baby. The baby is born the baby and pure, whole, and complete. That's just a given. Every single person on the planet is born that way, right? So let's just say that you are an athlete and you're in great shape. You were born in great shape. You're all of you. This concept of not enough is ridiculous, as if there could be, what do I need, another lung? What do you mean I'm not enough? This is replacing the enough, not, if you say you are enough, what do you mean at some point was I not enough? You're 100% of you. So you're enough. You can't be more than 100% of you. So let's say you're 100% born pure, whole, and complete. That means we're going to use the analogy as you are in great shape. You are the athlete, right? Now, let's say you go to the gym that day and you're having a really hard time with that exercise. It's hard. The weights are too hard. The activities are too hard. And you're really, really, really struggling that day. You're still in great shape. You're still a great athlete. You're still in great shape. That didn't change that we lower ourselves to the level of the problem. That's just the activity of the moment. You are still in great shape. You are still the athlete in great shape, whether you're struggling in the gym or in life that day or not. We need to separate who we are from what we do. We need to separate that. You need to see yourself as the athlete that's in great shape, even when you're having hard exercises that day. Where does all these self-concepts and challenges and sadness come from? We identify with the problem and the exercise of the day instead of using that problem or exercising to get stronger to help you to become more of who you are, which is great because you were born great. You were born amazing. You were born perfect. There's so many concepts that we have that are absolutely backwards because we were never taught behavioral intelligence. We're taught academic intelligence. We're taught how to problem solve. We're supported with teachers and tutors and small groups and help constantly. But when it comes to dealing with harder moments, we're winging it. We were homeschooled in it. And if anybody was schooled the way that I was schooled, Diane and Stanley from Brooklyn and the Bronx, who came from struggle themselves, they didn't know what to do in harder moments. What did they do? You're crying? I'll give you something to cry about. They didn't know what to do in those moments. So if you don't have a good teacher, what's going to happen to your self-confidence? It's going to start to go down. When you're a little baby, you say, everything's right about you. My baby is the best and you could grow up and you could be anything, right? Everybody's pouring into the baby and the baby turns 2, which I call the terrific 2s, and they're not listening. And the script changes to, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you listening? Immediately, because we never learned how to deal with challenges without identifying with the challenge. Don't identify with your challenge. Everything's right about you, period, end of story. Everything's right about you. Now, let's play the game. Let's use the exercises to help us, like the twig is the same tree as the adult tree. It's right. It is what it is. It doesn't change whether it's a drought or not. It doesn't change whether it's a sunny day or not. It's always going to be a tree, and you're always going to be pure, whole, and complete and perfect.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'd love to hear your question, Michelle. Absolutely.
Hey, Dr. Jill. Okay, so I have a question to you, and it pertains to mountaineering. When I build support teams, because you talked about I view it as a support team. You said, when a person has challenges and you give them a personal chef and all those aspects that help them to support their life, basically, that things do shift. When we're on a mountain, when I build teams, I make sure that everybody has the right mindset. They may not even have as many accomplishments about, their physical prowess, or perhaps they haven't climbed as many high mountains. But I would rather have somebody who, when we're all suffering, because we decided to climb this mountain and most of it's suffering while you go in it, that when we turn to our partners or to whoever we're with, that the person would rather offer up a smile rather than stating the obvious. This is hard. What do you have to say to the people who decide to embark on their own mountain that they're going to climb? And there are moments when you're suffering. And a lot of times people will turn and they'll say, this is hard or this is difficult. What do you have to say about who they surround themselves with and also their mindset of how to overcome that so that you don't drag your own support team down?
Yeah. Well, first of all, hard things make you stronger. So it's okay to do hard things. I mean, we're doing hard things all day, every single day of our life because we're living in the unknown. And we're always trying to figure out something. We're always climbing a mountain. We're always figuring out what's our next move from here. Like, right? How do I get a summit? Who do I get to speak? Maybe Dr. Jill could come again. Could she bring her friends along with her? I mean, there's always a question to be answered, we're always climbing a mountain. We're always dealing with hard things because what that's basically saying is this is a problem-solving world, and it is. And the truth is what you're saying, Michelle, which I agree with completely, is we are primarily on the problem side of it. We actually even think in questions. Like you wake up in the morning, you think like, oh, I wonder what time it is. I wonder if I should brush my teeth first, or let me see if the kids are up. Should I shower or check my schedule for the day? We primarily think in questions because the questions or the problems are our instruments for personal growth. We're supposed to be able to take it on. And the solution aspect of it, by the time you get to the top of that summit, 99% of it was the hard work. Then you have it, yes, I did it. And that's so exciting. And then we're back to, okay, now how do we get down? We mostly live on the problem side of it. We need to fall in love with the concept that problems are here to make us stronger and we are the right person to take it on. We're not trying to take away the problem. We're trying to get stronger to be able to deal with it and navigate or make choices in it. Maybe I do want to go up that summit with you, or maybe I don't, but I'm empowered in my choice to be able to do that. We can do hard things. Hard things make us stronger, right? That's how it works in life. We're not trying to get rid of problems. I want everybody to see problems as instruments for personal growth. I want you to say, bring it, because I got the tools that if it pushes against me and it shows me where I'm weakening, because behaviorally, we grow from where we're weak, not where we're strong, just like this muscle grows from where it's weak so it could strengthen. Bring it so we could feel the pain, feel the stress, feel the challenge, do the work, because if you do the work, it will work and you will get stronger little by little throughout your day. And when you get stronger, it's easier to climb those mountains. It's more fun to climb those mountains. This is a problem-solving world all day, every day, and our gifts come in taking it on, not taking it off. We need to, you know what, when stress hits, you know what the strategies that we have? Take the day off strategies, which I love all of them. We meditate, we go for a walk, we take a nap, we go away from the challenge. We move away from the challenge. But you know what the problem is? Come Monday morning or that next moment, that person or that challenge is waiting for you. Who's teaching us how to take the day on in those moments? That's what Everything Is Right About You is all about. That all the moments, all of them that come in, we're going to take them on. Bring it, because when it pushes against me and I can't do it, I'm going to do the work. And I'm going to strengthen myself. I'm going to use it as an instrument for personal growth, and then I'll get stronger. So the next time something like that comes, and it will, the next train's coming, you'll be a little stronger and a little stronger until eventually you're stronger than your stress. You're greater than any challenge that you face. You're the athlete. You are not the gym. You are the athlete. And that's the difference between a person that is a victim in life, a person that is a blamer in life, a person that thinks any solution is outside of themselves. No. You are responsible for your life, 100% responsible, 100% responsible. When you anchor into that everything's right about you and this is the job that we're taking on, now it's like, all right, come on, bring it, let's go, day on.
Yes. It actually has really impacted me very, very profoundly. Because you know what I realized is that even your energy, when you're not judging something as negative, something as bad, or that this moment is not the right thing, something about your creativity just opens up. Like, for example, this summit, the people that I normally have designing the posters and normally designing, the pictures, that's the frames that surround the pictures, the headshots. She's not available, and I've been waiting on her. And the last 2 days before the summit, I said, everything's right about this. I get to learn it today, and I did. Because it took me a moment to realize that it was actually being delivered to me as an opportunity to step up. It took me a moment. At first I was like, still messaging, still following up, and finally I'm like, I think this is an invitation. I think this is an invitation to step up, to grow in this area. So I did, but it changes your energy. It opens up your creativity. The moment you own the moment and say, this is actually what's being delivered to me because I need this at the moment. It's not a problem. It's an invitation, and it changes your energy. All of a sudden, you have the energy to do it. You have the creativity, the ideas. It's just, where did this all come from? So yeah, thank you, Dr. Jill, because the moment you realize everything's right about that, it's almost like a switch. Like there's a switch that flips up, that starts to like open up, ideas. From, instead of being kind of like resentful of a moment or feeling inadequate at the moment you flip a switch and say, everything's right about that. This is exactly what I need for this moment. It just turns on. It turns on energy. It turns on ideas. And it's pretty amazing.
And I want to tell you, it came out gorgeous. You did such a great job. And now you're not dependent upon anybody. So if somebody comes to support and help, that's great. But if not, it's okay, because you just learned that you could do it. And everything's right about that. I remember when I opened up my chiropractic practice back in 1984, one of the things that I decided was I was going to learn everybody's job. Not that I wanted to do anybody's job but my own, but I was going to learn it. So if that person left, I was never dependent upon anybody in those moments until I found another person. So to understand your business at that level and to be able to fill in those gaps and not have to depend on anyone, but then you choose to, because it's just delegating and making it easier, is everything's right about that. That's total freedom. That's freedom to say, all right, well, if they can't do it, that now I know that I can. So
yes.
Next time I'm going to effortlessly say, okay, now I've run through it once and I could do it a million times, and you may never have to do it again, but now you can.
Yes. And it really brings a different level of belief in your ability. When you realize that something that you always thought you never could, but the situation was presented to you, sometimes the situation just has to be presented to us, and that we realize that it's actually being presented to us as an invitation. It's not to harm us, to hurt us, to punish us or to torture us, but it's an invitation that's being served at the moment. Because, how do you say it? For your next level, for your next cut? How do you say that, Dr. You say it so beautifully.
It is. Whatever's coming into that moment is exactly what you need to take the next step from there, the next right move from there, because that's, and you know what? Life is so rigged in your favor. Life is so rigged in your favor. And life talks to you all day, every day. And it tells you whatever it is that you need to keep evolving, right? Because isn't life about evolution, right? It's about evolution, the baby, and then we grow up. I mean, that's what learning is about, is evolution, whether it's academically or behaviorally or financially or in relationship. It's all about evolution. And I want you to take the word evolve, and take the first 4 letters and spell it backwards. Love. And to love ourselves and others as we evolve is everything. So when we come from a place of love and that radical self-acceptance that everything is right about us to take on that moment, then we're not negotiating that moment as if it should or shouldn't be there. And that's what we do. We look at the moments, but life is going, wait, no, I'm giving you that moment. And it starts out as a little whisper like, hey, oh, you're not available. Wait, what? And then we're like, oh God. And you start stressing out. Those pain indicators don't ever go away. If you don't listen, they just get louder because life's in your favor and it's talking to you, and it gets louder and louder, and the whispers turn into shouts, and the shouts turn into screams, and the screams turn into challenges because we're not listening. And if everything in life is here to help you, not to hurt you, everything in life's here to help you, not to hurt you, then if you look at that moment and you ask yourself this question, how is that here to help me? How is that here to help me to become bigger, better, greater, stronger? How is that here to help me and be helpful to other people? Now we got a game on, because you're not negotiating. And it doesn't mean you needed to do that. Maybe you didn't want to do that. Maybe you have no interest in graphic design, but you could still ask yourself the question, okay, when my VA wasn't available, how is that here to help me? Maybe it's to get 2 other VAs, around, right? And to have access to more than one. I don't know. It doesn't mean you have to do that, but it prepares you to be able to deal with any single moment, in order to live a great life, truly. Yeah. And I mean this, and I'm going to give you the secret to all of living a great life. Okay, so everybody lean in. All you have to know how to do is navigate one moment. That's it. But you better know what to do no matter what comes into that moment. And when you know that everything's right about you to take on that moment, no matter what comes into that moment, the good, the bad, the hard, the easy, all of it, then it's game on. That's all we need to do to have a phenomenal life. So you want to see what's coming into that moment, because in that moment is the exact ingredients, the exact skill set, the exact exercises for you to be able to evolve and strengthen with love. So the next time something like that comes into that moment, and it will, it's just going to get a little easier and a little easier. And there's not that many things in life. It's not like there's like unlimited billions. There's only so many subjects. So we want to take it on, take the day on in those moments, knowing you're the right person for that right moment at the right time with the right life, and every single thing. And I mean every single thing, all of it, every single thing is right about each and every single one of us.
I'd like to shed some light on also another layer that Dr. Jill had just opened up to all of us. And Dr. Jill, I just love you so much. Let's talk about the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction is, as we know, perpetuated through gratitude, right? And if we're building teams because, we have talent challenges. Let's just talk about that, like Ava's challenge of her graphic artist, right? And so learning all of the skills needed as to all the teammates helps you to appreciate what those other teammates do. And with that creates gratitude, so that when Ava comes to find other VAs or other graphic artists, because we know her empire is building, we can see that she'll identify those people more, and she'll have more gratitude, and therefore more things will manifest in her favor. Dr. Jill, you're talking about how the world is not working against us. What do people say? I have a friend who constantly says that, Francois. He says, I'm a pronoist. I feel the world is working with us rather than the paranoia, so that the world is working against us. And you just gave us a glimpse of how that vehicle of gratitude works. It works through paying attention, understanding what's needed for the challenge. And then when you identify key players as you're building that, you have more gratitude, and then you're building something bigger and you're making life better for everyone. It's just beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Jill. It was just like, wow, I'm taking notes. And by the way, I just want to add one more thing. I'm making a quote here. I'll probably make it a meme, and I'll share this because I love how you say this. This is a problem-solving world, Dr. Jill. This is a problem-solving world, people. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you've shed light on all of this it's really exciting. I know that people that are listening today, people who are watching this today, Dr. Jill, are really connecting on the heart level with you. And they're going to be, sign me up. I want to join this movement. And you're like, yes, because guess what? It's powered by love. So I just want to interject that, Dr. Jill. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you said that. And it is so true. We were never intended to do it alone, ever. We need oxygen to breathe. We need the earth to stand on. We need food to eat. And that's why when Ava approached me, because it resonated so deeply within her, honestly, I said, That's it. We're doing this together. And we have a group, a collective group of people who are doing this together. We are all doing this. This is our mission. This is not all about me. This is all about every single person on the planet. And this is a message I want everybody to hear. You know, could you imagine, you have your children, and you know how we teach children. We teach children at the dinner table. We're sitting down and you're talking to your little kid and you're like, what were your highs or your lows? What were your grows or your glows? And we're teaching them to look at, like, to try to, they never want to do that. But what we do is we say this. You sit down at the kitchen table and you say, what went right today? Now they're searching for things. People aren't taught to take their brain into that direction. We don't have to balance it with what went wrong or what was hard, because that is in epidemic proportions. That means that one muscle is like Hercules and the other one is so weak. We need to focus and start to train the brain to see what went right. If you ask a child what went right today, they go like this and they start thinking, well, I got to play with my friend today and that was good. And I got to see a puppy and that went right. Now they're training their brain, right? So where your mind goes, your life grows. Could you imagine a society where we look for what's right within ourselves, what's right within each other, what's right within our families, what's right within our community, what's right within our world? Everything's right about retraining your brain to do that. So then your kid says, I'll tell you what went right today. I got to do this. I got to do that. I finished my homework. And then you have a parent pour into them and say, of course, because you're so smart, you're so good, you're so amazing, because everything's right about you. Every single thing is right about you. Could you imagine the self-confidence and the self-concept of a child hearing that every day of their life, no matter what they're going through, no matter what they're growing through, no matter what they're learning? Oh, you're struggling with math? Well, you're not math. Everything's right about you, and we'll figure out how to solve that problem. But we never want to lower the self-confidence of a person to the level of a problem. That has to be unwavering. And they have to know everything's right about me, whether I'm having a hard day, an easy day, whether I'm struggling, I'm not struggling, whether I can't figure out how to do a graphic design type of a thing, everything's still right about me all the time, because I was born that way, period. I was absolutely born that way. And so is every other person on the planet. So we could just remove all judgment. We could just remove all criticism. We could just remove all this imposter syndrome or envy, because the only person that you're here to work in your life is yourself. It's always a game of you to you. The oak tree doesn't compete with the blueberry bush. If it did, it would feel not good enough. Oh, I'm not tall enough. Oh, I don't have enough fruit. It's you to you. Let's fall in love with our lives. Let's know everything's right about us and each other, and see the greatness in each other, no matter what the problem is that's presenting in that moment. That's just the exercise of the moment, and it is going to change, but you're going to be consistent in your ability to understand that everything's right about you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Jill. Thank you so much. Such a treasure. This is going to be another Everything is Right About You Summit. So, oh my gosh, you know, the amount of grace there is to know that whatever it is that you're going through, whatever challenges you're going through, technological challenges you're going through, speaker challenges you're going through, everything is right about that. You know, but you gave me another tool today, Dr. Jill. My biggest takeaway is, how is the question, how is this here to help me?
Yes, that's so important. It's the questions we ask ourselves. It's not, how is that here to hurt me? How is this here to help me? How is that here to move my life forward? How is this here to direct me from where I'm at today? Right? What is this here to teach me? How is this here to make me bigger, better, greater, stronger, so I can be the best for myself? Because that's all that I have for others. So I want to just tell you one last thing before we go. One of the things that I'm loving about this movement is that it has legs on its own without us. It's already taken on a life force just from the words, everything is right about you. Because on Clubhouse, I've gone into rooms as a little test with people that are not in our little friend group, right? We have a not little friend group, it's a huge friend group that we have collected on. I mean, literally, it's like family. I mean, friends off the platform, family.
Like family.
Truly. And I go into a room and I see the little yellow, everything is right about you around people's faces, because I'm sharing the template. So the people are just sharing it, right? And this is what I love most. they're using the language. I'm listening to, like, when somebody gives feedback, somebody says something, I'm hearing them say, well, everything's right about that. Oh, well, of course, because everything's right about you. And I'm hearing it consistently. It's taking on a language. And when you have a common language with a common tool that could stand by itself without having to be explained,
Yes.
we got ourselves a movement. We got ourselves a movement, and everything's right about that. Every single thing is right about that. We're solving a big problem with this line.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I know before my personal testimony is I have friends who are like nervous going on a date for, we haven't gone on a date for a long time. I'm like, everything's right about you. And all of a sudden it just like, it's almost like something aligns, like she's worrying about, whether she's the right person, or she's worried about, whether this is the right person. And just that, those words, everything is right about you, just like almost shuts down.
It's just like, it's the truth. It hits right to the core of the soul. It hits right to the core of the soul, and the soul recognizes it. And that's why people love it, and they just hear those words, or they see that little frame around their picture or around their kids' pictures. It just resonates so deeply because it's the truth. And as soon as you speak truth, it just starts flying, because it's the truth. Everything is right about each and every one of us. And Ava, everything's right about your friend being nervous because she's sitting there with a person she doesn't know, and she should be observing to see, so she could selectively decide, is this a person she wants to have another conversation with or not? And it's okay to have that a little bit of excitement, which, nervousness and excitement is the exact same feeling, but excitement is the same thing, but with a breath.
Dr. Jill, you talked about the biocode and your systems of 5 steps. Now, everybody I know who is watching right now, is listening, is just eating up all of the information and the positivity that you're sharing. But a lot of us would like to have a little bit of blueprint, a little bit of framework on how to get to where you are. Could you speak to us as to how we may learn about this biocode and these 5 steps?
Well, absolutely. So if you go to my website, empowerhousegroup.com, you can read about it there. But here's the good news. Like, I keep very busy, and I have for my whole life, helping people, because just like you guys, I was born to help people. I mean, that's my whole life. This is the only profession that I've ever had. I've always been in health and wellness, and it's morphed, you know what I mean, from being a chiropractor. I say, I just keep adding more tools to my robust toolkit. And I wrote a book, and I went on tour. I've had TV shows. I mean, I've done so many things in my years, and it's always around health and wellness and self-concept and so forth, healing yourself and so forth. But one of the things that I realized a while ago was when I came up with the biocode system, which I believe it is going to be the behavioral standard for the world, that everyone should have access to this. Every person should have access. We should learn this day one, that this is what you do in those moments. Here's how you strengthen yourself. Whether you're a kid or you're a CEO of an organization, it's a missing skill set straight across the board. So a couple of years ago, I started to, because I'm only as strong as my hour or my team, right? So I started to develop an online program, self-directed, so people could learn the biocode system. So within maybe a month or maybe 2 months tops, that program will be ready. And then people could just do it online without me having to be there anymore. So I am so excited, because that's going to give access to people all over the world. Not just the people in front of me that just get the benefit of coaching with me, but I do take private clients, absolutely, as many as I could fit into my calendar, which, like I said, is really full. And I work with companies, and that takes a lot of time. But once we have this program done, and it's pretty much just, we're at the final aspect of it, that's going to be the way to help a lot of people on this planet, a lot of people.
So good, Dr. Jill. Michelle, thank you for asking that question.
Yeah.
So I love that we get to hear Dr. Jill's giveaway. You can take your biocode for free, right, Dr. Jill? And it gives that,
right.
Yeah. And what do they expect to see when they take the biocode, Dr. Jill?
So if you go to my website, there's something called a behavioral fitness score, and this is assessment that I created. that was not an easy task to figure out how to find out somebody's behavioral intelligence and which of these are the biocodes. This is the whole program, guys. This is it. Learn a little, practice a lot, learn a little. These are the 5 biocodes, and it will tell you the exact one of these skill sets, which is your dominant weakness, meaning your greatest opportunity to grow. And it will also tell you your behavioral intelligence, which if it's low, it's a good thing because you grow from where you're weak, not where you're strong. It means you have more opportunity to grow once you learn the skills and the tools to practice. So from 1 to 100, if you got like a 70, think of in school, like getting a 70 on a test. If you got a 30, that's where you're at. Not in life, only in stressful moments when things when they feel uncomfortable. You could be rocking it and being an A student, but under stress when things aren't going according to plan. How you treat yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you interact with other people, the triggers that you have, how you navigate change. These kinds of moments is where your behavioral intelligence is scored in. So that's what I'm saying. You could have a great life, but in that one narrow lane, this is a number you want to know because that's a missing link in life that we are solving a big problem for, fulfilling that void. So yeah, so go on my, go on my website. It's a 10-question assessment. You will be emailed your score, and it stands alone, meaning you could have every person on the planet take it as many times as you want. I use it as a tool. So before you start my program, we take it, you learn the program, and then we take it and you see how far you've come just as a tool. But anyone could take it, whether you learn the biocodes or not.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jill. Thank you so much. Do you have any other comments before? Michelle, you're just clapping.
Michelle, you have any other comment?
The only thing is that I want more Dr. Jill. And Dr. Jill, we're putting together a new talk show with the Los Angeles Tribune, and I want to make sure that everyone takes this biocode. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to your website. And I feel that we need these tools. Exactly what you said is what is needed in this world. How many times have we seen people who say, I meditate 2 hours a day? And then the moment, they may be doing that for 3 years. And then they drive and somebody cuts them off on the road. And all of a sudden it's rah, rah, rah. And you're talking about that. Hey, it's the challenges. Right. It's those challenges that really show your mettle. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing, but I just wanted to thank you so much and to make this information available on your website, correct? That's Dr. Jill.
Absolutely.
Is it drjill.com?
It's in powerhousegroup.com, or you can go to my Instagram, which is Dr. Jill Kahn.
Okay.
And on my link tree, I keep that assessment there. But what you said is my best joke of all. It's like, you could meditate, you could be a vegan like me, you could eat your veggies, but at 3:54 p.m. when that person cuts you off and then they start screaming at you and the kids are in the back, whether you had those organic veggies or not is probably not going to matter. And you're not going to pull off to the side and do some box breathing. It's not going to happen. Who's given us the skills in those moments? So that's the problem that I am solving for sure. Yeah. So I am going to say one thing to both of you before we close out this beautiful session, and I'm excited for all the other speakers that are coming today. I'm going to tell you both this. You are good, you are kind, you're amazing, you are beautiful, you are wonderful, you are loved, you are precious, you are intuitive, you are healthy, happy, successful, filled with abundant life. And the reason why I know all this, every single bit about each and every one of you, and I can say this with complete, authentic, genuine authority, because I'm going to tell you something about each and every one of you and everybody listening and everybody in the planet. And this is the truth. Everything is right about you. Every single thing is right about you. And we're going to celebrate you every single day of your life.
Yay! We get to celebrate, Michelle.
I'm excited. Yes, this is genuine. Love you, Dr. Jill. Mwah.
Dr. Jill, read on the chat as you come on the audience. There are some appreciations for you. Light up the chat for Dr. Jill and just appreciate her. She is. Lorna said you're a whole show. Dr. Jill is a whole show. So awesome, Dr. Jill. We are closing at 2:30, and I know it's a busy day for you, but if you're able to come back, we are gonna party around 2:30, Dr. Jill, 2:20 to 2:30. Love you, Dr. Jill. Thank you so much.
Have the best summit. You guys are rock stars. I'm so proud of both of you, all three of you. This is awesome.
Thank you, Dr. Jill.